On a warm summer day, there's nothing better than taking a dip in the pool. And so for this week's Verbrugge View, we're at the Bloomington Family Aquatic Center, which is about to open for the season. Why don't you come along with me and get an inside look at our operations? We're here with David Benson, who's a recreation supervisor for aquatics, and he is readying the Family Aquatic Center for the 2017 season. David, tell me some of the stuff that you have to do here leading up to opening day.
It takes a lot of work to get the pool ready. We have to order all supplies, make sure the facility is ready for people and staff to get here. Training the staff is probably one of our biggest responsibilities. Safety is obviously our biggest concern, and we want to make sure our staff are ready and able and willing to be there if an emergency arises.
How many lifeguards do we hire every summer?
At this facility, it's about 40 lifeguards, and a lot of them are high school and college kids from the Bloomington area and surrounding, so it's exciting to be able to employ some of our local youth.
And during a busy day, how many lifeguards will we have on around the pool at any given time?
Around the pool, there'll be about 15 at a time, with a couple on deck somewhere else for first aid emergencies, customer service, and anything else that might come up in the facility.
How many of our lifeguards do we get coming back every year?
We're fortunate in 2017 to have 100% retention from our lifeguarding staff. That is not common. We are very fortunate here in Bloomington to have that number returning, but this year it is 100% retention in lifeguards.
So it reduces a little bit of your training need because you have experienced lifeguards.
It reduces a lot of our training needs. They are already certified, they're familiar with this facility, they're familiar with the emergencies they might see in a given day, so we're very lucky to have them.
And yet we're still going to spend how much time with them before we open?
About 10 days total, and that's
fantastic.
a lot of hours during that time to make sure they're ready for.
And in terms of pricing to come to the Family Aquatic Center, how much is it for a season pass?
For Bloomington residents, it's depending on age, between $20 and $60.
Okay. And we also have a special program for grandparents who may have grandchildren that don't live in the city, that they can come and get the resident rate, correct?
Absolutely. If you're a grandparent that lives in the city of Bloomington and your grandchild does not, they can get a season pass for the resident rate.
That's fantastic. What about special programs or parties that we can host here?
There are a lot of opportunities for it. One of our biggest ones are group reservations. A lot of our local YMCAs, youth groups, daycares will come use us as a field trip option for something different from their norm. We also have swim teams that practice here every morning from about 6 a.m. to noon or so. So we are the main training facility for a lot of our local high school and club swim teams. We also have a water exercise class that happens on Sunday evening, so for those looking for a great workout in the summer that's outside in a fun, enthusiastic environment, we'd encourage you to check it out.
And birthday parties? Can people host birthday parties here?
Yeah, absolutely. We think we are a great location. We are outdoors, and we have a lot of concessions options and pool options to make someone's birthday special.
Great. And one other thing that you do as part of your job, in addition to managing this facility, is you also manage the Bush Lake Beach as well. That opens the same day as our Family Aquatic Center. Is there anything different about that operation from here, from your perspective?
To have an outdoor lake swimming experience in Minnesota, I think, is paramount for safety. I think we have over 10,000 lakes, and for somebody to have an opportunity in their backyard to experience that and learn the differences between a chlorinated swimming pool and some other things they might face in a lake is a huge opportunity.
Good. And you work really closely with our folks in Public Works to make sure that we do provide a safe experience here in terms of the water quality and the equipment in the facility, correct?
We say our Public Works folks are the real heroes around here. They do a lot of work to make sure this facility is ready, safe, clean for our residents.
Thanks, David. I'm here with Steve Ferguson. Steve is in our Public Works Department. He is the person who is responsible for maintaining the Bloomington Family Aquatic Center and has been for the last 17 years. So we're standing in the middle of the pool right now in the vessel, and we've just turned on the water for the year. Steve, how long is it going to take to fill up the pool?
It usually takes about 2 days.
And how much water actually ends up being in the swimming pool when we're done?
586,000 gallons this pool holds.
So when we're putting the water in, is it the same water that people have coming out of their tap?
Yes, it is. It comes out of the tap usually about 7 to 7.9 on the pH meter, and so we add chlorine and CO2 to drop the pH down to 7.4.
So we're going to take a little bit of a look inside the mechanical to see that process. But before we go in there, let's talk about how we maintain the pool itself. Obviously, we take the water out at the end of the season. What do you have to do to make sure the vessel stays in good shape?
It's a constant battle. Mother Nature is always trying to tear it up for us. So In the springtime, it's quite a bit of cleaning that we have to do to get the vessel cleaned out so it's ready to go for the public. And then once we get it to a point where we're satisfied that it's nice and clean, then we go ahead and start bringing in the water.
And you said that after this season, we have a pretty major maintenance project ahead of us. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, after about 7 years that you can run this pool, then at that point you would have to sandblast it, then paint it. And it's quite an undertaking. And this year, at the conclusion of this year, we're looking at sandblasting and painting this pool. It's quite expensive, but it's a necessary thing because chlorine does eat away at the paint itself. And so over time, the paint starts to fade. And if that happens, then the lifeguards can't see the bottom. And if they can't see the bottom, they can't keep you safe.
One of the other things you do is take care of the equipment around the pool. And we're occasionally changing out some of the features. How do we decide what we're putting in here?
Yeah, it's a relationship with Park and Rec, and as we go forward with time, things change from time to time, and the public's looking for something fresh and new. And so what we do is we try to find money that we can put forward to try to find new structures that we can install here at the pool to make the public want to come here.
Good. And all of it is done with safety as
Yes,
foremost consideration.
Yep, the state gets involved, and they lay down what the guidelines should be for that, and then we work with them and come up with something that'll work.
Wonderful. Let's go into the mechanical room and check out some of the process.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're inside the mechanical building at the Family Aquatic Center. We have a couple different processes we're going to show you. The first has to do with our chlorination system. Steve, you want to talk about that?
Sure. So what you have here is a chlorinator. We have one of 3 in this room that control the chlorine content that we have in the pool. And we have these AccuTab chlorine tabulets that we use. And what we do is we put those into this vessel. And inside of this vessel, there's water that circulates and erodes those down into a brine. And then that brine is then injected into the water stream back in the pool, and thereby getting our chlorine content up to where we need it.
And that goes in through the pumping system that
Correct.
is constantly churning in the
That is
swimming
correct.
pool.
So we have recirculation pumps that are running 24/7 from the time we turn them on and when the pool is full. And those are constantly working with computers that are on the wall that then monitor how much chlorine goes into those streams.
Good. And when we fill the pool, that's 2 days, but it takes us another couple days to get the pool chemically balanced for people to use it. About how long is that period?
Yes, it does take a couple days before we can get the chlorine content up to what we feel is comfortable and what the state mandates. So that takes a little bit of time, and then we would adjust the pH with another chemical that we also would take an additional day or 2 to get that correct as well.
So let's go see that next process that you just talked about. So making sure that the pH balance in the pool is right means that we have to manage the acid content. So why don't you talk a little bit about what we have here?
Will do. So what you have here is a product called Acid Magic. It's basically an acid in a form that we can use to monitor. We monitor our pH, but then what we use this product for is to push that pH down from 8 parts per million, which is coming out of the tap at, down to 7.4, which we can then have more of a comfortable swim. It doesn't irritate your eyes or your skin.
And so this is a constant process that we're managing because, as you mentioned, weather and outdoor pools means that we're constantly adjusting the balance,
Yep,
right?
that's correct. So every single day we come here, we do testing multiple times a day. And during the course of the day, the weather can change, but overnight it certainly does. So if we get a weather storm comes through and it rains down, some of that rain has some acid content to it and can change our alkalinity, it can change our pH content, or even our chlorine.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the pumps that we have in the room here?
Sure. So this pool has to have a turnover of every gallon of water in it, the 587,000 that we talked about earlier, has to get turned over. In this pool, every 4 hours, all that water comes out of the pool and comes in through this room through recirculation pumps, and then gets shipped through filtration where it's filtering it out. Then it gets treated by the chemicals that we use to maintain the water quality and also heated.
So this whole maintenance of the pool is a lot more complicated, I think, than a lot of people have maybe understood.
Yes.
So how long did it take you to learn this system?
That's a great question, and the reason is I've been doing this for 17 years, and after 17 years, I'm still learning every day. You got to have everything right where it needs to be, so I'm constantly learning.
Steve, thanks for doing this today.
Absolutely.
Good.
My
All right.
pleasure.